Okay, so thank you, Maria, for agreeing to come and have a chat with me about the Goddess Reborn workshop that we did. I think it was nearly a month ago now. So
Yeah.
this is really nice because this is like reflecting on how it's still showing up for you and what you remember. It's not like that kind of in the moment of like, oh my God. This is like actually, where has it landed? What does it mean? So, first of all, what was the reason that you initially signed up for the workshop in the first place?
I think initially it was, I knew come to a place where I just wanted to give something back to me, because I spend so much time giving out to everybody,
Yeah.
uh, in my work, and with my friends. I'm always give, give, give. And I suddenly realized that there was a little bit of me that was getting lost in all of that. And so, yeah, I saw your workshop and it was like, that sounds really lush. So I'm going to give that a go.
Cool. And how did you feel before you arrived?
I actually, surprisingly enough, I was quite calm. Normally, I'm really all over the place if I'm going to a workshop that I think is going to be quite deep. But I really think that my energy knew I was going to be in a safe space and I was going to be looked after. Yeah, I really was very calm, but excited as well.
So, do you want to just share a little bit about kind of your experience of the workshop?
Mm.
Um, yeah, just the kind of a bit of the journey of some of the things that we explored and how you felt about them, and just share some of that stuff.
Yeah, I what I went for was definitely not what I got. That was for sure. It was the unexpected moments that happened, and it was not necessarily, the content was excellent, but it was the shares that we had in the group, and it was also the odd words that you used that kind of had that trigger moment, and it was like, "Whoa, I didn't know that still resonated with me." So there was things like things from my childhood, things that had happened to me on my journey, or the traumas that I've experienced, which I actually thought were, I'd fully put to bed.
Yeah.
I was wrong. They surfaced. And it really, I thought it was quite a journey because we would start off and do things, and then I go, "Oh, that's an amazing aha moment. That's it, I'm done." And
Yeah.
then I would relax into it, and then it would, "There's another bit." So I was really sitting down thinking about this. What was it that was in particular so special? And I think it was the everything. It was definitely the combination of the chemistry of the different people we had in the group.
Yeah, we had a lovely group.
We did.
Yeah.
And, everybody was so loving and holding of each other. And there was no fear there in actually expressing what we wanted to express. I felt safe and held every time I shared something. So yeah, it was, and I love the way that you always gave the option to not say anything or to not to do an
Yeah.
exercise. It was we for me, I felt in control of what I said and what I did all the time.
And that, for me, that's one of the core bits, because actually there's so many places in our life we don't have that. Like, we feel
Mm,
like we have to say something. You know, I think
mm,
some of the stuff you're alluding to is actually, as much as the content was amazing, thank you very much, but
mm,
actually sometimes it was the silences, like those little pauses, or that moment where there was just this silence where I opened it up if anyone did want to share, and not every time people did, and actually just sitting in that silence was okay. And I
mm.
think sometimes we don't have those opportunities in life, and that's where I think the group really bonded, because no one felt under pressure. There was no um masks that were needed. We just allowed each other to be whatever we were in that space. And I really know what you mean about, it's almost like the unexpected one word that someone said that resonates. And I know I said to the group at the end, like, I got this, you know, kind of all these activities and things planned, and nothing was done in the order I'd planned it. There was activities I'd put in, activities I didn't do, because actually it just, and that's what I love, you know, if I go with my intuition, it's just what unfolds to the group, and that was what happened, and it was magical. It was a really magical day. Was there any one particular, and we had some laughs and we had some tears, it was a journey, was there any particular activities, just maybe a couple, that really resonated with you? And we did quite, I mean, it was a 10 till 5, it was a long day, so there was lots of content in there, but was there anything that particularly resonated with you, something that really shifted some energy, or something you found really I don't know, connected with you?
Funny enough, it was probably something that you didn't even realize. But when we went out for our break times, I think there were moments that we really connected and continued the conversations in our one-to-ones or twos and threes. And it wasn't just about what we've been talking about, it was outside of that.
Yeah.
We suddenly realized how much we needed a space to actually share and to be free of people not judging us. I think that's how it was. So I think that was really special. I love the bit where we stroked, you know, like we just touched each other's hair or
Yeah.
shoulders, and we got to choose that as well, whether we wanted, you know, 1 or 2 people to actually do that with us, or whether we didn't even want to participate in that. And that was very, I want to say the word sensual, but it's the wrong word, because it was, but it wasn't. It was just a feeling of coming home. That's what I want to say. It's a feeling of coming home to oneself. And it was like I am being accepted, and I accept myself too. And that was a beautiful experience, and I know it was for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, it also raised a lot of things that came out of that as well. And that was very, very interesting, on sort of both from my side and everybody else.
Yeah.
I love the little toys that we were playing with to explore things about our sexuality and about our body, and the questions that we never talk about to other women. You know, I don't know about whether the men do or not, but I know for sure when I'm out with groups of women, we don't talk about things like that.
Yeah.
And it was being free to actually go, do you know what? I actually don't know about that.
Yeah. So just to put it in context, because at the moment we're stroking each other's hair and we've got toys in the room, I'm like, okay, we need to put some context.
So yeah, maybe that's right.
Yeah, the stroking each other's hair was a beautiful activity, and it's called the love shower. And actually, it was going down the full length of the body, wasn't it? And I gave everyone a choice as to whether you wanted one person just connecting to you, and it could be with touch, without touch. There was loads of choices, which again we don't get in life. So it was just nice, you know. How many people do you want? Do you want to be, you know, do you want the connection? Do you want the air just moving over you? How do you want it, you know, to feel? We just had loads of choices. So that was kind of a top to toe, and it was a love shower, wasn't it? And that was beautiful. And I think, again, like I said, it's the simplicity. We make life so complicated. And actually, as you said, there was so much come out of that for people, of that feeling, being seen, being connected to, just, you know. And it is a kind of a sensory experience, because you're being acknowledged as a human being. It's like, it's almost that it was the pleasure of the experience, as much as actually, you know, for some people the actual connection was pleasurable as well, but actually feeling like, you know, being okay to be center of attention for a couple of minutes, and being okay to ask what you want and all the bits with that. And I know I've done that in a lot of workshops, and for men and women, and both find it really profound and quite magical. And then the toys we were talking about were, we had some crystals and different bits, but we also had some yonis that we were kind of just connecting with the energy of our kind of yoni energy. And we actually ended up doing a lot of stuff around womb energy as well, which wasn't actually part of there was a lot of stuff that people were kind of bringing and sharing around womb energy, which was really important as well for the people that were in the room. And that was, you know, a lot of people took, as you say, the shares were just magical, because they were, you know, they were part of the workshop. It wasn't like extra bits that were thrown in. Like we all kind of delivered the workshop in a way. You know, I kind of facilitated the space, but I think everyone shares, you know, there's that thing like everyone that's in the room is the right person in the room and everything says it's meant to be. And I do believe that is true, and definitely was that day, because it was the right people with the right shares. There was so much synchronicity between people's experiences, which is what you alluded to and you said about actually outside the space when you were having breaks and stuff was just as important as inside the space. The whole thing was the space. It was all one of one, which was really magical.
Definitely. And I think the one thing that I hadn't realized around the womb healing, I had a hysterectomy that I didn't want to have done 3 years ago. And I knew at the time that I felt quite violated by that.
Yeah.
Even though my childbearing days are over, but I still felt very violated by it. And I thought that was gone and I'd done with that. But that I cried in that bit, because it felt such a relief to acknowledge that actually, yes, my body had been violated and it wasn't my choice. I had to have it done, but it was that acknowledgement of it. And I'm sure there are many, many women out there that have had similar experiences and really haven't had the chance to honor that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we become so disconnected from our body for so many different reasons, whether it's through things like you're talking about, through the menopause, through relationships, through just life in general, childbirth. There's so many different, and we don't realize. And it's only in the spaces like we shared that you're suddenly like, oh, that might be why I feel like that, or that might be why that shows up like that in my life. And until we give ourselves, like you've said, you gave yourself that gift of that day of like, it feels like it's a good thing to do. And I know from what you shared on the day and from what you're sharing now that it was definitely something that kind of enabled you to expand a little bit. So how did you feel afterwards? I'm not going to put words into your mouth. There was any conversation we had, but how did you feel when you left, and how do you feel now, which is like nearly a month after?
I think it took me a good week to process what we'd done.
Yeah.
Because there was lots more that came up for me in a good way. It was in a good way. It was things that, oh yeah, that's a good thing that I've noticed that right now. And I think it almost gave permission for all of those unseen and unheard things to come to the front. And you taught us to actually go into that rather than run from it. So yes, it was a thoughtful week, and in some ways a little bit of a painful week, but following that, it was such a relief to have let that go. So now, what's that done for me? It's expanded my feeling of I'm good enough. It's expanded my feeling of I can achieve whatever I put my mind to achieve. And I think most of all, it's the acknowledgement that I am a beautiful person inside and out. And I don't think I really thought that before.
That is beautiful. I've got goosebumps. Goosebumps. Like, that's a good day's work. Well done, you. That's a good day's work. It's surprising where that shows up in life. So, but well done for you for stepping into it, and also allowing yourself the time to process it as well, and not just stepping back in life and thinking, well, that, you know, that was a nice day, met some nice people, you know, but actually to embrace it and almost dive back into it and just see like, okay, what else is there for me here that I can kind of use this experience for.
Yeah, definitely. And I still don't think it's, you know, I think it's a never ending process. And, you know, but what I think it does for you, it makes you aware. so that when those words or those conversations or those things happen, you go, oh, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
Rather than giving yourself a hard time about it.
Yeah, I think maybe like you were saying for some of your stuff, it kind of came back into vision, and you were like, I thought I dealt with it, but actually it's still part of our journey. And actually there's always layers to everything, and you might have dealt with one bit of it, but then there's another layer of it and another layer, and all of that's okay. You know, we've lived a human experience, and things are going to pop back up. And but also, actually, what can we take from it? Like, what's the learning in it? What's the joy in being able to revisit it and grow from it, and kind of, and not squashing it, and trying to bury it away, because that never works.
No,
That just ends up showing up somewhere else, normally in physical health. But yeah,
it does. So, from my point of view, I want to share this with people because I think it is important for men and for women to really honour who they are, and we all deserve that. And it's, I'm thankful to you for actually creating such a beautiful workshop.
Thank you. No, thank you. So what would you say would be the one key thing that you took away from the workshop? If you was going to summarize the experience, what would you say is the one key thing you took away?
Is to be unauthentically you and
Yay!
Yeah,
And
definitely.
what would you say to anyone thinking about doing the workshop, or nervous about trying something a bit different, a little bit edgy, maybe going to places, doing things, exploring things they wouldn't normally explore? What would you say to women that are thinking about maybe coming along to the next one?
Yeah. I always think that if you're feeling a little bit out of your comfort zone, that's good. It means you're alive. It means you're expanding. It means you're growing. And it also means that your body and your essence, your soul is yearning for something more. So it's, yes, you will feel a little nervous, but oh boy, is it worth it.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being visible, so that other women can kind of get an idea of what the workshop's about, and actually what the journey can be, because every journey is different, but what the journey can look like. So thank you for your time, and I will see you very soon, if not on the next workshop, hopefully before then.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.